I get to create a connection between place and yarn woven with my hands, my energy, my soul. When I visited Scotland, traveling from Edinburgh, Inverness, landing in the Isle of Skye, my soul instantly fell in love with the land. My eyes couldn't believe the natural beauty with each and every turn. The majestic views anchored in. I want to hold on to all of this forever, never to fade, never to shrink in my mind, my heart. The tactile connection transcends space and time, working the yarn into the project. Wearing the object, I immediately returned back to the place where my soul felt completely at home. To feel the majestic connection to the land, water, plants, and history of Scotland filled me with such an undescribable expansiveness. I feel so lucky to have experienced it and am so grateful for a craft that holds the feelings for me. Are you able to connect with your crafting to your places of awestruck wonder? I invite you to share your experience in the comments. Hi, welcome to Wandering Stitches. This is episode 4, and this is my knitting podcast. My name is Jess, and I welcome you back if you are returning. If you are just joining me, I really appreciate you stopping by. I have my dog Josie here behind me, so you may hear her a little bit in the background. So I am going to talk to you about my shrug. This was my Friday shrug, and it is my finished object. And I did this as a knit-along for the Scottish Shrug Club Cal, hosted by Amy Palco, to go along with the Scottish Yarn Festival that just happened just this weekend. And I'm so glad. This is my first Cal, and I actually finished on time. So the designer was Jackie Rose, and it is on Ravelry, and it's a free pattern, and she has a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday shrug, all depending on the different weights of yarn that you want to use. So this Friday shrug is you can either hold fingering double or use a DK, and I believe the Saturday is worsted and the Sunday is bulky. And so the cool thing is with the bulky, I believe it's a pretty quick project. This, I would say, probably took me a couple weeks to make, and super easy. It's just a 1x1 rib, and it is a tube. There were some new techniques that I had learned, and in the pattern, Jackie does have, so it's a tube. Jackie does have links to YouTube videos on tutorials for the waste yarn tubular cast on with a crochet hook, and she also does one for the tubular cast off. So those were two new techniques that I had learned. The pattern itself is a fade, and she does a really good job putting in the pattern a schematic for 9 different colors of fades and marls. So it's a great stash buster, and you can really get through those yarns that you don't have a project for. There's also in the in the pattern a blank sort of schematic where you can plug in your own colors for the fade, and I thought that was really cool. So I think I'm going to hold on to that as a reference. So this, as you can tell, is not a fade. This is just a single color, which is this. And I had spoken about this in a couple of prior episodes because it's the thing that I've been working on pretty monogamously. And I'll tell you that this yarn came from Scotland. I picked it up, and it's my souvenir yarn, and it's from a little yarn shop that I got on the Croft, and it's in the Isle of Skye in Carbost. And the week that I had spent in Scotland was wonderful. It was it could probably be a whole other podcast. I could talk about the places that we had visited. We had used Whiskey and Tweed, and I'll put a link to that tour company in the description box, but I would highly recommend it. Neil was wonderful, a true Scotsman, and he was very, very proud Scotsman and very knowledgeable in his history and where to go, and all the, it's overwhelming the amount of places that we went to and all the places that he drove us to, but he made it very easy and very fun and very informative. So I will, again, like I said, link the Whiskey and Tweed tour website so you can check them out. And they were very accommodating, and like I said, he was very accommodating to make sure I got to a yarn shop. Yeah, so I like to use this project as a way to connect to Scotland. I love Scotland. It felt like home to me. I didn't even want to come home, but I knew I had to. But just having this on is like a warm hug from Scotland, and I'm really looking forward to being able to wear this in the fall and just remember looking at all the different all the locks, the mountains, the little sheep that were just running around everywhere. It truly was a magical place, and I'm so glad that I was able to experience it. And I'm really glad that I was able to take a piece of it home and knit it into a project. And it was really cool that I was able to do it alongside a Scottish podcaster, Amy Palco from the Meaningful Stitch, and just to sort of honor the Scottish Wool Yarn Festival. So I really look forward to getting a lot of use out of this. I believe the heat wave in Maine is over, and so now it's like mid-September, and it's definitely sweater weather. And yeah, so you can find the hashtag Weekend Shrug Club with other shrugs from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on Instagram, and I'll put a link to that in the description box, as well as a link to Amy's podcast. And Jackie Rose also has a podcast, Katie Jack's Knits, which I'll link as well. So it's a free pattern and super easy project, and they make great gifts for yourself and others. So that is that project, and I will move on to something that is going to be totally off trend. I'm not a very trendy knitter. I can't keep up with the trends, and I can't keep up with the cows and all this stuff. So I want to focus more on the stories behind my projects, and letting go of this this need to like try and keep up. But this, I'm a little late. This is a summer knit. As everybody in the podcasting world is talking about what they're going to knit for autumn, I'm still stuck in the summer. Do you find that as your experience as a knitter as well? leave a comment below and let me know if you like to use yarns that you buy on trips as a way to connect with the place or the experience of the trip. Yeah, so this is, I had mentioned this in my first episode, but this is the Lost Tank by Friday Knits. I think I'm on a Friday trend, but totally unrelated. So Friday Knits, it's just a tank top, and the construction is pretty simple. You cast on the back, you knit down, and then you pick up the shoulders, and then you cast on the front and knit down, and then you connect. And the yarn is the Kobayashi by Haiku, and it's cotton, bamboo, and silk, and it feels super nice. Violet is the color, and it's on my Ravelry, and I believe the notes are in episode 1 in the description box, but see the drape and the stretch. It's super stretchy, and I think it will feel really nice. And the story behind this is it's for my niece, and I think this project is very meaningful to me in such a way that it allows me to have an outlet for going through a grieving process. I lost my brother unexpectedly just this past March, and he left behind his daughter, his 12-year-old daughter, and my niece, who I'm making this for. And so when we were together during this process of loss, she had asked me to make her something, so I said, of course. So that's what this special thing is. And so it's it's an outlet. It's my refuge. It's a way of just pouring love into the stitches, and my knitting doesn't care how I show up. I mean, perhaps my tension will be different, but I believe, it's really hard when sometimes the grief comes and goes in such a way that makes no sense. And I like to think of it as the cloak of grief. A lot of times it's invisible, but it's always there. And then when it's so heavy, people see it, and they don't know what to make of it, and they don't know how to respond. And I feel that it makes people uncomfortable. And coming back to my knitting and just focusing on that and focusing on my niece is a way for me to sort of process all of it and to make something loving and just help me get through it. So I would love to know if this is your experience sometimes, and let me know in the comments if you have a similar story. And I share this with you in hopes that if you do have this going on in your life, that you're not alone, and I'm here for you. So I hope to get this done really soon. So I have to do the neckline, the armholes, and just probably a couple more inches on the body here. And hopefully I'll be done with my summer knit, and then I can work on my autumn knit, or my winter knit, which is the deep winter coat that I had showed in episode 1. And I have to focus on that. But I think once I get this done, then I will work on my night shift cowl. I'll have to get all of that yarn that I had showed you in episode 3. I'll have to get all that wrapped up. Okay, you want to get down? So yeah, I'll have to get that all caked up and figure out what colors will go with what. I will probably start that in October. I will take you along that that creative process. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting that started. I really would like to just probably take it all up now and just sort of play with the color placements and whatnot and figure that out before I cast on. I'm really typically just a monogamous knitter, but I think with everything going on, it feels good to cast on new projects, and so that dopamine hit of new projects helps get me through the summer. But yeah, I feel like I need to sort of rein it in, and I am, like I said, I'm not a trendy knitter, and I'm a slow knitter, but I definitely like sharing the process and the stories behind my projects. So I pretty much have that as far as knitting content. I figured since I didn't have a lot of knitting content, I could take this time with episode 4 just to introduce myself and really thank you guys for supporting me, subscribing, liking, commenting on these episodes. This was sort of like also another way to sort of get myself out there and go through the grieving process. It's funny, knitting, I picked up knitting after my mom died, and I was looking for a community at work. There were women knitting, and so I just talked to them. I had learned when I was in 5th grade, and I thought, well, look at them, they're having a creative moment together, and it just seems really happy and supportive. And so I asked them to sort of take me in, and that's what got me started on this like perpetual knitting journey. And I think with the process of going through my brother's death, I think reaching out for community, and I love the Knittingpodcast community, and so I thought I'll just put myself out there, and it gives me some distraction also and something else to think about, and it gives me practice on public speaking and just being comfortable in front of a camera and putting myself out there, all things that I want to improve on. So let me introduce myself if you don't already know me, or if you do already know me, I should say. You can just, I think, end this and wait for the next episode. Because I'll just talk about myself a little bit and share a little bit, and then the next thing I'll do is I will show a little photo montage of the wandering hike that I took up Pleasant Mountain here in Bridgeton, Maine. I did that last weekend, and I will show some footage from that. So I am a knitter. Like I said, I've been knitting, I learned in 5th grade. I really picked up the needles in 2012. And I have been really using knitting as a refuge, as a way also of putting myself out there, meeting new people, going on retreats, and that's a great way of just showing up and being like taken into the community. It doesn't matter what the background is or anything or what I'm knitting, I can just show up with my needles and yarn and just start a conversation, and it's really welcoming. And it feels really good. I think I feel that sometimes in my life I can look back and see where I don't find it easy to fit in. I grew up as an adopted Korean. I was adopted by a wonderful family in Western Massachusetts, and they took me in and made me their own, but there was always still sort of some disconnect, I think, and so the knitting really helps to sort of overcome that, because it's a common thing for everybody, which I like. So I went to nursing school in Boston. I did my undergraduate at Northeastern, and then met my husband. We moved to Maine because he's from Maine, and I went back to Northeastern for my graduate degree, my master's in anesthesia, became a nurse anesthetist, and I've been doing that for, oh my gosh, a long time now. And I work in a small community hospital, which I love, and it gives me time to knit, and I don't have to do call weekends, so it's great. And let's see, that I have 2 kids, 2 teenagers, and I have 2 cats and a dog. I did try raising chickens, but here in Maine, it's tough to keep the predators out unless you have like a Fort Knox, like dog kennels. I feel like the chain link fence, all that stuff, which I don't have. So anyways, I'm a wannabe homesteader. I am super happy to have started this journey, and I'm super happy to be sharing it with you. And I would love to hear what your journey is, and I'd love to hear where you are located and what kind of process knitter, object knitter, or just experience, or if you just are here just for support. And I really appreciate it, and I hope that you are enjoying this content. If you are so inclined to hit the like, subscribe, share, and comment button, it really helps my channel and helps me build the community and extend the reach on the YouTube algorithm. So I am going to wish you a fond farewell, and for now, until next time, I wish you well, and I hope that you do all the things that you love. Bye now.
Almost to the top. Ooh, it's so pretty. Ooh, there's the fire tower. This is the firewood trail. Yes. And there's my friend Jess.